Welcome to this session of Q Talks. Q Talks are a series of informative and topical webinars run by leading experts from quality compliance systems. I'm David Constantine, Chief Technical Officer and Data Protection Officer for Quality Compliance Systems. We've created a series of webinars dedicated to simplifying the complexities of the General Data Protection Regulation and to help you ensure your organisation is GDPR compliant. This is the next in the series covering what do we think the issues will be when living with GDPR? How do I manage the retention of records? The first step is to work out what personal data you process, for how long you currently keep that data. Then consider why you keep personal data for that period of time. Is there a good reason for keeping it? You can rely on legitimate interests to retain personal data, but they must not be outweighed by the rights and freedom of the individual, and they must be genuine and logical. For example, keeping personal data just in case you need it in the future is unlikely to be compliant with GDPR. You should also consider whether there are statutory requirements for you to keep personal data for a certain period of time. You can find more information about retention of personal data on our policy and procedure entitled Data Security and Data Retention, including a link to recommended data retention period issued by NHS Digital. Once you've decided the period for which you will keep personal data, you should document the decision and review it on a regular basis to make sure it remains logical if your processes change. Finally, make sure you have proper processes in place for deleting or destroying data at the end of that retention period. How do I keep on top of personal data? You should conduct an initial audit of the personal data you process. You can use the policy, procedure and form we have provided entitled Initial Privacy Impact Assessment to help with this. If you change your processes in the future, for example by using a new IT system, processing a different type of personal data, or changing the ways in which you currently store or keep personal data secure, you should carry out another privacy impact assessment. We will provide a template privacy impact assessment for you to use for this purpose. This will help you retain in control of the personal data that you process. One of the key requirements of GDPR is to document all decisions you take in respect of data protection and processing of personal data, and to consider all issues on an ongoing basis. By carrying out regular reviews of the personal data you process, the policies you have in place in respect of the personal data, and by conducting privacy impact assessments when necessary, you should be able to show that you meet that requirement. What do I need to do to prepare for an inspection from the regulator? All the steps you take to achieve GDPR compliance will help you make sure you have all the information you need if the ICO chooses to carry out an audit in respect of your organisation. It's really important to document every decision you take and everything that happens within your organisation in respect of personal data, including any breaches of GDPR. The overarching policy and procedure we have provided sets out the steps you should take. Bear in mind that the ICO may take an interest in your organisation if it receives a complaint about the ways in which you process personal data. So if you adopt the processes and policies that you need to comply with GDPR, you should be able to avoid ICO intervention altogether. And what will the Information Commissioner's role be? The role of the ICO won't change. It's the body that governs and regulates data protection in the UK. It also provides advice to businesses about all areas of data protection, including GDPR. You may find the ICO is a good starting point for any queries you have in respect of GDPR, although they will only provide general advice and won't be able to advise on specific issues relating to your business. You can contact the ICO by phoning 0303 123 1113. Will things change again? It's unlikely that GDPR will be updated in the near future. There is another piece of legislation called the Privacy Electronic Communications Regulations, which is commonly known as PECA and will be updated in the near future. PECA sits alongside the Data Protection Act and GDPR and gives people specific rights in relation to electronic communications. It covers, for example, marketing calls, emails, texts and faxes. PECA is most likely to apply to you if you send marketing communication by email, text, fax or phone calls. If you fall into that category, you should make sure you understand the requirements of PECA and bear in mind that it will be updated in the next few months. So, there you have it. These are the issues that you think you will have when living with GDPR. Thank you for listening.